Hi, so welcome to one more video of Wide Aware with Lakshay, where I'm exploring the topics related to ongoing events in Auroville and trying to get to the depths of the topic. And in that regard, I have today Selvaraj, who has recently been inducted in working committee. And I would like to speak with him, have an open conversation in understanding why we have arrived at this situation, how can we move forward, and what are the steps that he considers as possible steps that we can take to bring the community together. Hi, Selvaraj.
Yeah.
So before we begin, would you like to give a little bit of, begin with an intro for people who do not know you? How long you've been in Auroville, where are you from, and what's your background?
Yeah, my parents are from Kuelapalayam, and when Auroville first started its steps in this area, my father and my mother, both of them joined Auroville, the workforce team. As beginners, at the beginning, the trustees of Auroville were mostly Hindi-speaking people, and my father was I would say the only one in the area who knew Hindi, so he played a big role in in the beginning stage of Auroville, connecting with the local village, bringing in laborers, and facilitating the smooth settling of Auroville, beginning of Auroville. And I joined the first school in Auroville, which was called the La School. And the La School building was one of the first buildings built in Auroville.
Okay.
In those days, you could see the barren field and the La School building sticking out. So I started my early schooling in Auroville. And also I and my family had darshans with the mother. I remember clearly 3 times going along with Vadrajan and Shamla to see the mother and get her blessings.
So you have, as a child, seen mother?
Seen mother, yeah. And for me, yes, I truly want to see the mother's vision coming true. And at the moment, the big conflict of having an ecological city, certain people pushing that narrative, and trying to totally ignore the mother's vision of city for 50,000. I'm totally against trying to ignore the mother's vision and her wish to have a city for 50,000. So for me, I'm very focused, and I will give all my energy to see that this city of the mother for Auroville will come through.
Okay. So right now we have in our community almost very palpable sense of this side versus that side, and when you talk about this eco kind of narrative or a city kind of a narrative, what do you think? Is this something which you have seen forever, or is it a new kind of conflict, and how do you see it? I mean, for me as a new kind of person who has joined Auroville recently, this seems very extreme. Have you experienced this before?
Yes, all along I've seen this. There are few who would stand out in the meeting and trying to oppose or criticize the master plan and try to talk against it. But right now, the few who have conflict of interest or self-interest, especially the green belters, who have 50 acres and 100 acres, and it's very cool for them to have that space for themselves and say to no one else enters there and start claiming, and they can have a very easy, good life here because you get a maintenance of being a stewardship. And there's not much work. Mother never talks about the forest. she talks about the farming in Auroville.
Yeah.
So then Auroville can be self-sustained.
Okay.
Here you plant tree and then you cool off with whatever habits you have.
I mean,
And
we cannot generalize. I'm sure there is a lot of work in certain forests, but
there is a lot of work. The forest which is there is wonderful and beautiful, and I think that should be never touched or destroyed.
right.
Yeah, but to claim this is my area, my thing, and on top of that start blocking the city to come forward, it is not acceptable.
No, when you say it, I mean, it's a little bit contradictory in a way. So if I may put it this way, on one argument you are saying the forest should not be touched. It should be let alone. Okay,
Yes.
fair enough. But then you also say the city should be built.
Yes.
But then there are many forest-like places within the city plan. So what do you do with them? That's where the conflict is. Nobody is touching, I mean, there's no conflict about the forest and the green belt, I suppose. What do you think?
Auroville, for last 10 years I know, is purchasing new land, mostly in the Greenbelt area. And most of those lands are, trees have been planted, not
Okay.
farming. It's not taken over much for farming,
Okay.
but trees. So I say, our site in the beginning, many Aurovillians went outside of Auroville area to plant trees. Yes, we need to get into more of that.
Yeah.
But right now, even within Auroville,
Yeah.
certain areas where the green belt is not involved,
Yeah.
they allow those areas to, totally take out the trees. Why? Why only in your little area you want to protect? And
So you are saying the people who are fighting for or standing up for the ecology and protecting the trees, they only protect, are concerned about the trees in their so-called
yes,
control,
there.
and they don't worry about the trees in the place which is not in their control. Are you
Yes,
sure about
yes,
it?
yes.
Can you give some example?
Like the one in Adventure where the
Electric
TNEB
board,
board
substation.
that happened. There was no reaction at all. And then
How many trees were cut there?
I don't know now.
What kind
I
of
don't-
trees?
I don't know. I didn't follow that also up much.
But there were like one or two trees or many?
There were many trees. And the frisbee ground. And roller skate ground. These are in between trees.
And when they cut off, there was no protest from anybody.
Nobody.
So the green belters who are right now fighting for the trees did not worry about
They
them.
did not worry about this.
Okay.
And also, why? I mean, they're just focused on their area. Their own house, they will give it to their family members. Otherwise, anybody else coming and getting involved or putting a little house there or whatever, it's not possible.
Okay. We are a little bit digressing, but I want to understand when you say that they are only concerned about it, but when you talk about, say, when the Darkali happened, there were more than 200, 300 people there. So it's not that they are living and they're fighting for their, so they are concerned about.
No.
So
No.
how do you justify that?
When the last, before the NGT was announced, there were only 30, 40 people.
Okay.
There were not 200 people there. The work started. It was more or less accepted. Things can go through.
Yeah.
But there are few who are dead against trying to block. Even recently somebody wrote in the Internet that we should come together and all that.
Okay.
But again, trying to call for a pause. To stop.
Yeah.
We need to,
Yeah.
understand. There's hundreds of studies for last 30 years, 40 years, how to go about the city, what you need the city, what is the ideal city. There's enough studies have been done.
Fair enough. But however, we have come to this stage of conflict where we are not even talking to each other, and you say that this has been a long time kind of development.
Yes.
It's not
Yes.
a recent. It's not 6 month thing.
It is not a 6-month thing.
So even since, how far back does the conflict go back in your memory? Like when you were a child, you heard about stories, or when do you remember that there is this definitely a narrative which is apart from the city?
I would say 1999, when the
Master plan
resolution was approved. Since then, this thing is going on. And it was only a very few who are opposing this. It was more or less okay. Even now they have planted a lot of trees in the city area, in the ground, Crown area.
Yeah.
It was agreed. It is in the news and notes of the old news and notes that they plant those trees, and those trees will be removed, and those trees will be used for furniture, timber and all that. But now, because they have gained certain momentum on gathering people, now they are trying to be totally blocking things.
Okay, just so that we understand what is their perspective, it's not black and white. It's not as if they totally want to oppose the city. They also say that they want the city like mother wanted. What do you think is the core issue behind their opposition? What do you think is, like you said, people oppose the city for a long time. What is the opposition against?
Look, I would say the little opposition came from the green belt. But more than that, there are certain people who are not really tied into the green thought. They just want to have control over Auroville.
So it's a kind of a conflict or a fight for possession, you think? That's what you think?
It is a fight
managing the status quo?
It is, no, I would say it is not that. It is to have control. That means from when I see this, I've grown up and I've been one of those people from the local who has been clearly participating in the process of decision making and all that.
Yeah.
There are certain clans and certain group.
Yeah.
They want to dominate. They want to be a power here. They want to enjoy this dominance, luxury life here.
Okay.
This, for me, I've seen all along. I get tired and I get sick, and I don't want to let this happen. Auroville is not meant for this idealism. It's the idealism of people from all backgrounds come together, live in a brotherhood. Really, as a one family.
Yeah.
Not, when I was a child,
Yeah.
when my father was involved,
Yeah.
you know what I used to hear?
Yeah.
Beware of this white people. India's independence is just 20 years before Auroville's birth.
1968 and India got independent in 1947. So 21 years.
21 years. So people in the village were very clear. Beware of the white people. They will take over. Kottakarai, I was part of the working committee and made a presentation on Quedapalya, Melanjori and Kottakarai. Kottakarai were very furious. They said, we never accepted Auroville. We never wanted Auroville to manifest here. Because the past of takeover of India and all that.
Yeah,
we can't accept.
Okay, bad memory of that.
Yes.
Okay.
And that meeting, that presentation meeting, more or less got into violence. But we quietly moved out of the space before, we started fighting.
Okay. Okay, so you say that you stand for brotherhood, you stand for working together, and you per se, you like the fact that there are people from all around the world in Auroville, don't you? No?
Yes.
That's something which you appreciate, no?
I love that.
I
love that idea.
Okay.
And I will do anything for that.
Fair enough.
But I think not for a dominant group to try and rule this place. Forget it.
Okay.
I will do anything to remove that kind of a, entering into Auroville.
Okay. So in this I'm now coming to the working committee. We all have followed the story of working committee since last 6 months. And there are these 7 members, 3 of them on one side of the argument and 4 of them on this side of the argument. 4 of them believing that the city should move forward. It's high time, it's been 54 years, enough is enough, let's move forward with some war footing. And on the other side, the other people know the process also matters. Doesn't matter it's 54 years, doesn't matter it takes 500 years, but we will go through, everyone should come together and build city together. So in a way, that's another thought. So don't you think that they could have sorted it out themselves, because we are all here for Auroville after all?
What do you mean about they?
They as in the 7 members. Instead of getting separated and arriving at right now the situation where we have 2 working committees. So how do you see the last 6 months? The RAD to stop work, RAD to bring down the working committee members. How do you, from afar, you have just been recently inducted into it. So what is your impression of the working committees, if I say drama?
the Auroville Council, the RAS, they both were kind of biased. They are biased.
Working committee and
No,
residents assembly.
Auroville Council
Auroville
and the
Council
RAS.
and Residents
RAS.
Assembly Service.
Yes.
You think they were biased?
They were very biased. They are taking up the narrative of to call a stop on the process of city to go for,
Okay.
which means basically having a community process, and with the moment where things are polarized
Yeah.
against the city,
Yeah.
which means take out a vote saying we don't want the city anymore. This we can't go through that.
But can you really call them biased? Because they will say, you know, we looked out, we did a survey, and the number of people wanted it, or the RAD election results shows that majority, like 90% of the people want the work to be stopped, want the working committee members to be removed. So they go by the number, they go by the facts.
Yeah, Auroville, the master plan, that was approved pretty much in 1999.
Right.
And it was given to the governing board. And normally the governing board is supposed to take the city forward. And which is now not at all, in my sense, it's not at all in the residents' body
Okay.
to review and stop things.
Okay.
We can give our input.
Mm.
Residents should always be able to give their input.
Okay.
And the governing board will see what are the good inputs they will try to incorporate.
Right.
But now to call even today Fabian's no to Northern, he's clearly mentioning about we have to pause and we have to think and all this kind of things. No,
Yeah.
there are non-negotiable items like the ground road and the city, the master plan. It's all in a broad space how things should happen. This cannot be questioned. This cannot be taken to resident assembly to try and rake up support and stop. The forest people and the power-hungry center people, their intention is to try and, stop the Auroville Act,
Yeah.
the Act, Auroville Act,
Auroville Foundation Act.
Auroville Foundation Act. They want to turn now that everything is, the Auroville residents have the supreme power. The Auroville Act doesn't say that.
So, in a way, in the last 6 months, whatever has happened in the working committee, so you saw that as a power tussle, and
It
one
is a
set
power
of
tussle.
it's a power tussle, and one group wants to even change the act if possible,
Yes.
or
This is the
interpret.
sense feeling I have.
You have a feeling, or at least interpret in a way that as if it's only residents assembly which has the absolute power
Yeah.
in the workings and in the
Yes.
in the functioning of Auroville,
Yes,
and that you felt was not right, is it?
not right. Look,
And-
when Sri Aurobindo Society were here, who are the managers of Auroville, who are the trustees of Auroville,
Yeah.
and there was a conflict, and finally the Sri Aurobindo Society was pushed off, and the government was struggling how to retain the lands and assets that they created. So finally they come up with the idea of passing an act in parliament,
Yeah.
taking over all that is related with Auroville under the Foundation Act, Auroville Foundation.
So they took it from Sri Aurobindo Society,
Yes.
which was initially owning all the
Yes,
land,
yes,
and they basically transferred rights of ownership to the foundation.
yes,
This is what is basically the 1988,
yes.
or before
And-
that there is an emergency act. That was
No,
over.
Emergency Act was just in between finding a
Okay.
manager. So they took it over. Rightfully it was owned by Sri Aurobindo Society.
Initially they were the ones who bought it.
Yes.
They secured the land.
Lot of land. Now we have added much more. But what I want to say is that you can't just take over from one to give, and when you do that process to justify to the country why you're changing that ownership, you have now actually normally everyone has a right to own
Yeah.
under our
Constitution.
constitution. It's there.
Yeah.
But to do that, they have to pass a special act in the parliament.
So that they can justify taking
Yes.
it away from the
Yeah.
society.
Because of that, they had to put something very clear. The residents are not the final ownership
Yeah.
or the final say in everything.
Okay.
It is the governing board. They constituted as group eminent people from India who would be fair and take things proper. Because residents as people, we can one day we will do this. Today if I say we have 4,000 acres in Auroville, let's all divide each one 1 acre. Can we all sign this
one each
memorandum understanding or thing, and we'll pass it through RA.
We'll get a majority?
We get more than the majority. Even people from the village will join who are not members. Okay?
Super.
So we cannot leave everything to the residents.
So you don't think necessarily the voice of the majority is always wise?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't want to believe in that.
Okay.
And especially now after how things are going, I don't want to believe. Because this recent issue, saying JCP has come inside and destroyed things, and then Gundas from the local village have come and destroyed things. I was there. No Gunda, no violence. Even this Matilda was going on harping with me, and I said, okay, pass me the videos of where there's been violence. She passed me 4 videos, there was hardly any violence. And they're saying we have cut millions of trees. This is all pure lies.
Just a little bit to...
How can you take a narrative or a issue with lies?
So the police violence is a lie, the trees, millions of trees is a lie.
Police came there to keep harmony.
They didn't come with rifles, they didn't come with the shield, they didn't come with the lathi charge.
Some of them were going and standing in front of the JCP, they asked them to come sit on the side in the, or whatever it is. Okay. There was no violence, there was no anything.
But the images like, for example...
Images all world is saying millions of trees are cut and the local gundas all were hired to beat up everyone. No, it's all pure lies. It is actually very difficult for me to see this kind of lies is going on, perpetuated around the world and everywhere. It is too much.
So what is this gunda? Like, who are these gundas which is being said? When you say lie, how do you know they are not gundas? Like, there were about people who were a little bit trying to, with the JCB, trying to clear the space. They were a little bit rough and all.
I was there in the morning, I was there in the evening. They were trying to keep people away from the JCP doing the work. They were holding hands.
So they were cordoning off in a way.
Cordoning off.
So that the JCB can just work.
Yes.
But what about the videos where we see some people are being pushed around and somebody said...
The other group, the forest group, they go and instigate, they go and shout at people, they do all kind of things. So sometimes they push the people who are cordoning. Then obviously they will try to,
So you were there on the...
Yes, I was there.
In the youth center. Initially the purpose was not to intimidate, it was only to cordon off.
Not initially, the whole idea was to cordon off.
Okay, and then in the heat of the moment when you say
people
something...
pushing them around and all that.
Exactly,
yes.
so it was just a momentary losing of control.
Look, when you are saying losing of control, it's trying to say they lost control and they got violent.
Yeah, I'm just... No, okay.
They were all along trying to keep people away. And the others were trying to push on them and aggress them and shouting at them. And that shows then they make sure that they don't come into it.
Okay.
So they film, they edit and they kind of put things. But I've not seen any one picture where any of those people have beaten anyone in the crowd.
Yeah, but we read in social media, we read in all the campaigns that are being run right now as if...
no, that's why I asked Matilda, who was trying to say, is violence allowed in Mother City? I said, I have not seen any violence. Can you pass me some videos where there's violence? And I still have those videos I can share with you. There's no violence there.
Okay. So, coming back to the working committee, when you have this kind of idea from sitting outside that this is what is happening in Auroville, and you see the working committee which could have become a bridge between different factions, because there were representatives, rightly there were certain people in working committee who wanted the city, certain people who did not want the way it was being built. So they could have in fact come together and discussed within the working committee.
I'll tell you.
What happened? Why couldn't they come together and talk?
I'll tell you. First, the council, which is normally trying to, get involved when there's not enough harmony in
any
group
conflict,
or any, units are. They were not neutral.
Like I said before, okay.
Yeah. there were 3 local leading members. Their drive was to try and see, to push the narrative of the opposite side of North City, the eco group.
Yeah.
And they were having conflict resolution team,
Yeah.
which are also, in my sense, very biased.
Okay.
They were trying to insist, they would call them into and do a thing. The majority member of the working committee, they were not feeling comfortable to deal with that facilitator to harmonize things.
Okay.
How can when I feel the facilitators are against me or they're going to be, how will I put my leg into that fight?
Okay.
So I would blame the council not being neutral. Even 2 members recently resigned because they couldn't stand that the council is one-sided.
Okay. So that kind of somehow brought us to this April 4th, the inability for the working committee to somehow solve the issues within.
Yes.
And they initiated, the RAS initiated a process, RAD, to remove, in a way, they didn't say that way, that it is to remove just 4 members. But majority of Aurovillians knew what was this process for.
No, RAD, the petitioners wanted that, and RAD just followed without trying to, take more community input.
That's right. The petition initially said to remove the members.
Yes.
Because they didn't follow the residents' assembly.
Yeah.
So, and after that there was one more notification by the end of the April where the 4 members using PWG removed the other 3 members.
Yes.
So, did you closely follow this? Were you party to it? And when did you propose your name, or they just invited you? How do you see yourself being inducted in this working committee? Is this a temporary measure? How do you see this?
Yeah, I think it's a very temporary measure, and this came into at the last moment before the inducting the 3 other members.
Okay.
We are part of a universal township group where all of us are very, dedicated to see the township needs to come through.
Okay.
So there it was like, my name was proposed and I was asked if I would join be part of the working committee.
So just for clarity, you have experience of working in working committee before?
Yeah, I have been, I would say I was one of the longest serving member of the working committee.
Yeah. When did you first join in working committee?
In 1999.
In 1999. In fact, that momentous year when the master plan was passed, you were in working committee.
Yeah. Till 2008 I was there, and recently
So that's almost 10 years.
More than,
So you have an experience of working for more than 10 years in the working committee. So what do you think are the general roles of the working committee? What do you usually do? What is your main work?
We deal with all the official issues, with the local officials, but our main interaction was always with the foundation, with the secretary. There are a lot of issues where the secretary, we need the help of the secretary to move on issues with the collector or a lot of the issues.
Okay. So one thing is to work with the office of the foundation.
Yes.
Auroville Foundation.
Yes.
So it's very important, is it?
It is very crucial.
If not you, there is somebody else who can do the job, or it's all upon you?
There are a lot of tasks. The FMC takes up its own,
topics,
tasks to the secretary. But the working committee takes up all other, lot of the general topics.
Okay.
And when I was part of the interim working committee last year, the working committee was not at all having meeting with the secretary.
There was no secretary then?
No, the interim.
Under Secretary Srinivas
Secretary who was in charge doing this.
Yeah.
They were not having, the working committee and he, they were not talking.
You were not in good cordial relation with him?
No, there was no meeting happening.
Because of his choice or because of working committee's
I don't really know what it is,
Yeah.
but somehow there's been some.
There was some distance.
There was some unhappiness, I think, from the secretary who was not happy.
Okay.
So he stopped wanting to.
Okay. Was there a reason? Any topic? Particular topic?
No, I don't know. But then I asked the working committee, what are we doing? We're not at all, having any meetings with the secretary. No, he's not giving us time. As I had in the past been the working committee member and I know Srinivas Murthy quite well, I went and sat with him and said, please sir, give us some time. We need to talk to you. First, he was kind of not wanting to hear me out of that.
Okay.
But then he understood and he said, okay, come this Friday, or something like that.
Okay.
So we started talking. What I'm trying to say is, there's a whole approach. The secretary is the governing board executive officer. There are a lot of issues we have to go through them.
So what happens if you don't have you
No,
don't go
for
there?
me-
No, usually, like you said, when you were in the working committee as an interim member, and you were the one who tried to bridge.
Then we had
So
meetings.
otherwise, the working committee was functioning properly.
No.
Without even.
What you need to understand, the governing board, the secretary,
Yeah.
which is a high rank officer, it's an IS officer, and they have certain respect with the surrounding office, within the state,
Okay.
within the central
The
government.
bureaucratic circle
Yeah.
of state government and the
Yes.
central government.
And when there is a response or appeal or a request from the secretary,
Yeah.
it's taken up much more effectively,
Seriously. Okay.
seriously. When we do it just as a working committee, even to get an appointment in certain offices, we can be sitting for hours, days.
Okay. So to get any of the Auroville's work done, which
Yeah.
is basically you as a working committee member or a bridge between the Indian functionaries and our community, for that you cannot go reach out to them directly. You need to go through the office of the secretary of the foundation.
We are
We
allowed,
can,
we
but
are
then-
allowed to go and reach out.
Yeah, but then
But
nobody
it's
will listen to you.
most effectively done when the secretary is
Okay.
approaching.
Okay. Or when she or he recommends you that
Yeah.
somebody is visiting,
See?
so please.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you think you're not. Working committee cannot be as effective.
There are certain issues we can deal with ourselves.
Okay.
There are certain issues it needs the help of a secretary.
Can you throw light quickly, like certain issues which we can deal within ourselves, by ourselves, which is that nearby villages and all?
Nearby villages talk and with the people, and there are many small things
Small
we can
things
do.
which you can do yourself.
You don't need a bigger high rank officer
Okay.
to do that.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
so the thing what I want to say, the whole issues also here is getting blocked. It is starting to question, who are you, the secretary? Who are you? You're only a short-term person here.
Yeah.
We are a long-term person here. Who are you?
So this you see that some
This
people
is
are
there.
asking this question.
This kind of attitude is there strongly in Auroville.
You feel that way.
Yes. Secretary is clearly appointed by the Prime Minister of India. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
She is a high rank officer.
Yeah. It's
We can't start questioning, I'm a resident, so who are you? She has a role to play here.
yeah.
And the working committee is, in my opinion, is representing the residents. But we need to be in a cordial, in a diplomatic, in a humble way. I wouldn't say humble really, but in a cordial way, trying to
In a respectful way, yeah.
in a respectful way, approaching all issues.
Fair enough.
But if we have this arrogance, going to the other person saying, who are you? We have all the rights.
We are the residents. We are the
No, we are the
representative of-
residents and we have all the rights. What is this?
Yeah. It won't work.
You won't go anywhere with this kind of attitude.
It's detrimental for Auroville.
Yeah, and I see this happening, especially in the last few years. This attitude.
So even we touched upon it before, but we could not come and close that. I asked you in the last 10 years, did you, how was the practice before? Because the Foundation Act says that you can formulate the policies, programs and projects, but you have to then table it on governing boards, in front of governing board, and they will review and give directions, and they may approve or may not, So was that followed before? And like you said before, it was at some point, for certain things you did, and
For a lot of things, big changes.
like governing, the master
decisions.
plan was
Yes,
tabled.
Yes, master plan was tabled, and the governing board did approve.
Approved in 2001.
Yes.
So what about other things that you decided as a community when you all came together and decided a policy? Like for example, the 10% quorum, was it presented to the governing board? It's a big decision.
I'm not sure. But every year the governing board comes, and there is a presentation about each major working groups to the governing board.
Yeah.
What are the actions they have taken, what are the new changes or the new, it's been presented. So the governing board is aware of what is happening, and very often, because they don't take enough time to go in details, not much response comes from the governing board.
Okay. I'm also asking this related to the recent two RADs. The previous one being to stop all ground related work. It's a policy which we decided as a residents assembly. Let's say that way. We made an election process and some sort of a referendum process, and so called the result look very unilateral. That at least the result says that stop all work. So before implementing it, it's something which we as residents assembly come up with a policy or a program to stop all work. Before implementing it, is it not necessary to table it in front of GB for their review?
On this topic, the governing board had taken certain decisions
Okay.
before. It has also been announced to the committee.
In minutes of the meeting of 58th governing board meeting, yeah.
Where they addressed this issue.
They said the work should continue.
Yes, they addressed this issue.
And we did the RAD after the minutes of the meeting.
After the minutes was published.
So we thought that we are above them and we can override.
We can't do that.
You think we cannot do that?
We can't do that. When, especially in the governing, there are certain items which are non-negotiable. We can appeal to the governing board.
We can softly appeal,
Yeah.
but not like
Not
going
like
through the process and saying that now we have decided and we will not,
Yes.
we overrule you.
Yeah,
That kind of attitude will not
That
work.
should never be there in Auroville. Because the governing board is recognized, approved by the parliament. It is a group which is the main group of Auroville.
So that
We cannot
RAD
show
of that.
outside that we are opposing the governing board. We should interact with the governing board and take time to get certain things approved.
So even if we wanted to do it our way,
Yes.
we could have diplomatically reached out to them,
Yeah.
maybe had personal meetings with them, and softly get the point across that,
Yes.
can we stall the work for some time, and
Yeah.
we are figuring out something, the
Yeah.
dream catcher is going on, and dream weaving thing is going on, whatever.
No, but now what is happening? We have the numbers. So you need to listen to us.
Yeah, so that's arrogance.
That cannot be there.
So you think instead of doing what we did, in fact we have distanced the GB even more by when they
Yes.
clearly announced in the GB minutes of the meeting, I mean the 58th meeting, that the crown work should go on,
Yes.
and we going and asserting ourselves saying we have the
Now-
numbers and you
now
have
we
to stop.
That's wrong.
That you felt
And
was-
especially for so many years,
Mm.
from the beginning, Auroville has been trying to reach out, get funds to go on with the city, with the Crown Road, Ring Road, Radio Road, all that.
Mm.
For last 54 years we have been trying with various governments of India and NGOs.
But there are many
outside.
people who are also raising funds for making forest and building an eco village, and
Look,
that's also
there is
many funds.
There's a big difference. Funds needed for that and funds needed for the infrastructure building.
Yeah,
This goes in crores and thousands of crores and all
right.
that. Those projects you can sustain in 50 lakhs, 20 lakhs,
Yeah.
or 1 crore a
Yeah.
year or whatever, you can sustain those expenses.
Okay.
For the first time, the whole Foundation Act was done during the period of Congress. And Congress government was very close to all. But we never got much money for the city to go forward from there. Congress. Now finally, I believe it's because Modi was personally here and he saw things and he ensured, okay, Auroville needs to be given some support, some help.
Also overlapping with Sherbidd's 150th
Yeah,
birthday
Sherbidd's
anniversary.
150 and a lot of Sherbidd's people are now close by him. So he said, okay, let's go forward. This is the first time we're getting large amount of money for the city. And at this moment, we want to feel we are more powerful and there, the government and all that, confusing the whole issue, creating a whole nuisance.
Wait, related to this, I think there is a lot of conspiracy theories in our community that the BJP is trying to take over Auroville. What is your view, being a local?
For me, I would like to see above all this, for me, it's grace that Auroville is now getting finally recognized to support with the city, and I will focus on that.
No,
I don't think
this political color. So when I just want to know, because you've been here a long time, that when, like you said, for longest time in the Auroville was passed by Congress, and then from 1988 till about say 2014, majority of the chunk was the central government was ruled by the Congress, Indian National Congress.
Yes.
So in Auroville, did many residents feel that we are under, because Dr. Karan Singh was a member of parliament and he was close to Sonia Gandhi, he was very close to Sonia Gandhi. Did we feel that we are taken over by Congress?
There was always this side talks. We are under the government and the government will take over and all this kind of talk.
No, political in a way.
Yeah.
Even the Congress or just...
During the Congress time also, there was this side talk.
Okay.
And what I'm trying to say here, this is the first time we are getting some money, proper money, to take the city forward. So far, we never got hardly any money to deal with the infrastructure.
And we couldn't raise it.
And we couldn't raise it
ourselves.
No. You are saying
to even secure the land.
Yeah, but you are saying we got some money for little green belt work here. Yes, we got little money here and there. But the city infrastructure is not little money, sir. No foreign government is ever interested in giving any money to Auroville. Nor any foreign NGOs are interested in looking at Auroville city development. And the individuals from other countries or who have little money, they have little money for the city with their own expense. And maybe little support here there. But that is in lakhs. To build the Auroville city infrastructure, we can't deal with lakhs. We need crores or thousand, whatever you want to say. Without that,
so in a way, you were happy that the present government was.
I'm very happy
that they are kind of little bit interested in Auroville's story. And are showing inclination towards taking Auroville forward. And even if that means that it's only about infrastructure and city, but you don't care about that.
And for me,
because others would say the city is all about realizing human unity and not about the brick and mortar.
I really find this twisting and trying to undermine the government by saying the BJP, they're pushing here, there, and they're now coming into Auroville. I think we should not do that. We should not, our voice should not come out. Now you are talking about the internal organization. Let's talk about the internal organization. And let's dialogue with the governing board and get certain things clear.
So it's very important that
in a humble way. Let's not go to them and say we have the right and you have to listen.
No, and there's another conspiracy in our community that 15,000 North Indians are going to come and occupy Auroville, and then they will change the village demography, voting and all. How far do you think as a localite do you feel it's true? Is there any truth to it?
I don't see practically that's really coming through, but from the point of view that Auroville is less than 3,000 people, I like to see Auroville grow, and I hope my first wish is it's becoming an international township.
Yeah.
But because we are not getting anywhere much towards the internationalism, don't try to either block the locals or other Indians joining it. Please don't do. That is a racism.
Mm.
Don't do that.
Mm.
Okay? We should try and bring, inform all over the world about Auroville. Invite people from all over.
That doesn't mean you stop for the sake of having diversity, we stop the local people from coming.
Local or Indians, any Indians. All have their free will and heart. Whoever has that feeling for Auroville should be allowed to join Auroville.
So you don't think that some people, as they are saying, the North Indians will come and occupy, is a fair even thought?
Look, I have my own views on that. I hope we are going to be a mixed community, and I don't want even the local community to have a dominant role in Auroville. I think it should become a universal.
So you think even the locals should not be dominant?
Yes.
You don't think anybody should have dominance in that sense?
Yes, I don't think anybody should have dominance. Mother said human unity.
Yeah.
She said people from all backgrounds here.
Yeah.
And they are working things together.
So coming to this thought, again, there is another big fear in the community about the visa extension, and people are afraid to speak because if they say anything against the foundation or even the people right now in the working committee,
Look,
is it true? How far it is true? Is there a reason to be afraid?
When you see how the visas are organized around the world,
Yeah.
you can come to Auroville, you get the visa. Auroville visa is a special exemption from the government. No other foreign nationals are given this privilege.
The X visa.
X visa.
It's only very peculiar to Aurovillians.
It's very particular for Auroville. And here, why is it given to the people? Because they're coming for Auroville, for the dream of Auroville.
For building Auroville.
Not your own dream, not your personal agenda. And obviously, if you are attacking the foundation on building the city going forward, that doesn't qualify you being proper. Why should you get the visa for that? So, Auroville, everyone should get the visa. Hello, when I want to go outside to see my children, I have to justify in hundreds of ways, plead in hundreds of ways to get a visa for 2 months, 3 months visa. You understand? So this trying to make a what do you call plank saying, oh, we are getting hammered by the visa issue.
Yeah.
There are openly people who are attacking the foundation. They can do that. What are you here for? There are certain young people who are doing nothing here, just running around and writing nuisance on the action which is trying to move forward and trying to stall things. You are giving visas for that? You think the government will, even if the foundation doesn't take a note of those things, you think the immigration won't take note of that and they'll say, forget it, we're not going to give you a visa, for no X visa for Auroville. Because a lot of Indians get traumatized when they want to go out. If you go to the immigration, the MHI, they'll tell you all the stories. Why should we give Auroville special status? What special they're doing there?
I mean, you can also argue to an extent that we do not know per se how the Auroville will be built. Mother gave a broad guideline, but there are very practical issues like mobility, for example, or let's say where the school should be and how the schooling should be, and there are many thoughts. You know how many schools and how many variety of schools we have. So does this mean that one group of people, whoever, I'm looking forward, is it also not necessary that we have diverse views in our community? Is it not also important that
views is different?
Opinions are different, but
yes, views and how to take forward and to do it this way, the town, the ring road, or that way, it's all different good ideas.
You think that's okay?
That's okay.
But
to criticize and block things for the sake of your own, interest, That's not right.
So, for example, when the GB says that go ahead with the work, and one group of people come together and vote and say that stop the work,
No,
which
they-
overrides the GB,
Yeah,
is
they
not
can-
right.
They can give their views, but not stop.
Not stop.
Yeah, they should write to the governing board or whoever, whichever the ATTC is dealing with it and say, please, we have nice input. Can you look into it?
Yeah.
That's okay. But no, we will block anything that is going to happen.
Yeah.
Is that proper? No way. Nowhere it actually happens like that.
So if they go ahead and do the work, which some of them might think is very against the spirit of Auroville, like JCB breaking a, let's say, youth center.
All construction, in
Need-
small or big, even in the villages,
Yeah.
before it used to be all dug through monkey and
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Now every small hole digging for construction is used. JCB is used.
No, yeah, I get it. That's just a tool. But when some individual or resident feels motivated that this is a wrong, and in their eye they feel what they are witnessing, they cannot just keep quiet. And doesn't matter what the scenario is, what the visa status is, they have to go and stop the JCB. Do you think that is
It's against the law to do that.
okay?
It's against the law to do that. And you approach the government. You approach one of the group who's leading that
Correct.
and appeal with them.
So there's a right way to do it, not this very crude,
Yeah.
brutal way of just
The
stopping.
groups might not take your input and but that doesn't mean you can go and stop. That doesn't mean you can go and stop and block things.
Okay.
You can only try your best
Very
to
clear.
see how best we can turn the things.
So, when things come to you on your table right now, there are two working committee. Do you know what is their role and what is your role?
Look, right now we have met the secretary 3 or 4 times, and she has accepted our role in discharging the task, and she's agreed to take up whatever comes through this working committee, where Anu, Shrimoy, Arun, Sparta,
Tina,
Tina,
Josepa,
Josepa,
and you.
myself are, and which also includes like recommending the visa and the land purchase, a lot of official things. So, yeah, one of the things is in my mind. I don't know when that we'll start acting on that, but somehow try to see how to harmonize things within the community. At this moment, we are very polarized and apart, and we need to see how we can bring the community together.
Do you have any ideas for that? How do we move forward together?
I think, yeah, I was thinking right away to see we have 30 people coming together and start talking about things, about the issues.
Okay. Did you already recognize who those 30 would be? Did you reach out to
No, I've been trying to reach out from this side.
15, you mean?
Yeah, but quite a few from the city side feel they need more time. It's too quick to come
Patch
together.
up, okay.
Yeah, we need to see if they are willing to come along. you
Yeah.
know, taking the city forward, not just saying we are okay with the city. They make certain steps. So we'll see. I think in the next weeks things will become clear when we will be able to sit together.
Finally, one more thing. We hear a lot of things in the international media and also national media, and most importantly the local media. We read a lot of. I mean, even the recent locking thing was published as a sensational news. What do you see? How are the villagers around or the bioregion is looking at the Auroville? Because for them it is coming as a shock, because they think Auroville is for unity and harmony and peace. And here all the conflict is coming. The message that we are sending out is a little bit not so congruent with the idea of Auroville. What is your message for them? If somebody is watching you, what will you recommend to them? How do they discern between various news that they are receiving?
I think getting more people in the small, I would say this issues within Auroville, we need to harmonize soon. And trying to bring it with our neighbors or internationally, it's a wrong thing to do actually. And I've also told the other side, they're going on spreading this issue in the international media and all that. It's not fair. If some of us now bring this issue within the neighboring and break up people to come into the Auroville and start demanding where you're going, stop this or whatever, it's going to become a mess. So I try to isolate this issue within the Auroville community itself, not to spread out, or within the neighbors also. I know the neighbors are very happy with Auroville, and they would go along with Auroville. They would support Auroville. But if we start polarizing them, then one group goes polarizes for the city, and the other group goes and polarizes against the city. Then we are just, making
bigger problem for
bigger and bigger issue.
Okay.
We should not try to. We should keep this problem within the community itself and to harmonize.
Great. Thanks for the frank conversation, Selvaraj. I hope we can have more such conversations between us. The idea was to really understand your thought process behind joining the working committee and to hear what are your aspirations for Auroville. And I will try to reach out to more people. In fact, even I will try to reach out to the working committee members on the other side to see what is their perspective and how do they see their role as the alternate working committee. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Selvaraj.
Yeah, thank you.